Well, welcome to the Disruptive Dental Science podcast, where we get to talk about different innovations and ideas in the field of dentistry. And today, when you use the term insurance, for a lot of us, it makes us cringe because we're in insurance-driven practices trying to get to fee-for-service, but we feel almost locked into these different plans that we don't want to be a part of, whether it's because we're going to be losing patients if we do drop those insurance programs or anything else that it might be. So today we sit down with Dr. Marc Lai to discuss ways to get out of these in a comfortable way so that we don't lose our patients or our patients. So let's jump right in. Well, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Disruptive Dental Science. My name is Dr. Ashton Prince. I'm one of the clinical ambassadors for Dental Advisor, and today I am joined with two of the greatest people that I have ever met in the field of dentistry, Dr. Marc Lai and Dr. Sabiha Bunek, our CEO and our leader over here at Dental Advisor. And we have selected the topic of trying to compare what your life could be like if you're going fee-for-service in your practice or if you're still involving insurance companies. So to the both of you, welcome to the show. It's nice to have you.
Thank you, Ashton. It's an incredible intro. I don't think I'm worthy of that, but thank you. Take it when I can get it.
You are.
We'll have Sabiha do this in a segment. Marc, tell us a little bit about yourself. For those that don't know, everybody should, but for those that don't, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a 2013 grad of the Degoni School of Dentistry in San Francisco, fourth generation San Franciscan, still practice in the community. I'm in the financial district, have a fee-for-service practice, and been with Dental Advisor for about 3.5, 4 years now. And it's just been one of the big highlights and joys of my career. So thanks for having me today.
Beautiful. Sabiha?
That's beautiful. Thanks, Marc. That was awesome. And thank you, Ashton. So Sabiha Bunek, I have a practice here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, a solo practice with a small team. And I went to the University of Michigan. I have a small practice. I was in a big group practice for 12 years and then went off on my own 6 years ago. So you do the math. And I also had the Dental Advisor right next door to me, which I run with these wonderful clinical ambassadors, Dr. Ashton Prince and Marc Lai. So it's exciting to be on the other side of this today. And the topic is really, really interesting because I'm envious of Marc because he is fee-for-service.
He lives the life that we want to live, basically.
Yes.
So we're going to get some details out of him as to how he pulls this off. So for me personally, I have a small practice myself. I've got one associate that works with me, but we have been trending from involving insurance companies, trying to become more for the fee-for-service because we are so sick and tired of what they dictate for us, what we can or can't do for our patients. At least that's the way that we look at it at times. So, Marc, what I'd love to know is, first off, have you always been fee-for-service or did you trend that way after a period?
We trended that way. And again, you both mentioned the desire to eventually go that route. But I think it's a slippery slope because, you don't want to, it sounds great, but a lot of times you have to have some self-awareness of where your practice fits in the community, the people you're serving, and what's really going to work for you. Because it may not always work, but you have to make that decision. I think that there's a lot of times too where you mentioned insurance and how you don't want insurance companies dictating how you treat patients. And I think that's absolutely the right answer. But a lot of times you have to think about, again, the community you're serving, where are your places in that community, because you don't want to alienate, those people that you're helping.
Sure.
So I think it's very important
to your position, it seems to be, you're right there with me that we want to be more towards that fee-for-service dynamic. But we'll ask Marc how he did it in a moment. But for you personally, why have you not done it yet?
So I accept Delta. I'm a premier Delta dental provider, and my office is right across from the stadium. I'm right downtown Michigan. I'm a University of Michigan grad. All of the University of Michigan coaches, professors, everybody this is what they have is Delta Dental. And so I am so integrated with that whole University of Michigan that it would be a disservice for me not to take it. And it's such a transient community too. So I think sometimes if you're going to go fee for service, people will find value in what you do and you can do that. And you have many years with these people for them to see, but these people are just here for a limited amount of time. And sometimes they might not know that, they might come in and these are your providers and they're going to be here for 3 years. Maybe they're doing a postdoc, who knows what they're doing, residency, and then they're out. So it's been really tricky, but it's hard because with everything that we've had, there's inflation, there's wages, inflation of wages and products and everything else, everything has stayed the same with insurance. So it's really hard, but I do it for the community. I'll be honest. I do it because this is what I feel like it would be a disservice for my community if I didn't do this.
I've found that to always be the case in my decision making for which insurance companies do I keep. And it's guilt for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I can take this away from people. One of the biggest ones that I wasn't even matching overhead for the reimbursements amount that was coming back to me was one that was associated with all the teachers in my community. And I thought, I can take a hit for the teachers that are out here because they get paid so little to start off with. But every single time that I'd see one of the patients come through, because the insurance reimbursements that I was getting back, I was actually basically spending my own money to see that patient come through. And it drove me insane until I finally started to say, I want to be like Marc Lai.
Yeah.
And the only way for me to do that is I'm going to have to cut these off. And it's almost like a decision that is based off of business as opposed to it being a personal. But it is so hard to try and differentiate between those two dynamics because we get ourselves to feel guilty so often. So, Marc, I got to ask you, how'd you do it?
You just got to do it. I mean,
Just rip the Band-Aid off. And
that wasn't a good answer. But there's a lot of decision making that goes into it. And I'm kind of in a group practice, family-run practice. My father's still in the practice 2 days a week, and then I practice with my brother. So it's something where it's a big decision. And again, you have to anticipate and know that you're going to lose some patients, no matter how much time you've spent with these patients, how good of a relationship with them. A lot of times there's going to be some attrition. It's just going to happen.
Did you experience the attrition?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Did you say a percent, like how much you lost?
Let's say about 20%. Yeah. Okay. But, when you're talking about straight numbers and, you may be losing patients, you may be seeing less patients, but ultimately you're making more, money now, or you're doing the dentistry that you really want to do. And you're not having, like, again, an insurance company dictate how you're going to treat someone. So I think that's very important. So having some of that financial freedom, practice freedom, that gives you a lot of a sense of peace of mind. And ultimately, you mentioned on another podcast about anxiety and all those things. So all of that weighs into that decision-making process. But just like anything else in life, sometimes you gotta take the plunge and do it.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Did you just write a letter to your patient? Like, what did you do?
Pretty much, yeah. It was it took us a few months to really make that decision. But when Delta was starting to cut fees and a lot of the other insurance companies were cutting reimbursements, we're like, we just can't operate that way. And you mentioned inflation, and not just from everything from how much products cost to wage inflation, that all factors in. Mm-hmm. So, and you mentioned the Premier thing. I mean, Delta's been threatening to drop Premier for how long has it been?
Long
forever,
time.
Right?
Long time.
But it seems like, haven't you heard? I mean, we're all on some of these dental forums. It seems like so many people are dropping Delta that they would change, and they would, but it doesn't. I think they're sitting really pretty with their.
I agree. Yeah,
it's because you've got people like you and I, Sabiha, that just
That's
don't dare take
chicken.
the plunge. We just can't do
Marc,
it.
you said it so perfect. You just got to do it. I mean, you're just so right. That's the thing. You just got to do it. But we're so chicken. We are.
But I mean, so that sounded really like
no, but it was the reality.
We were absolutely right, Marc. That's the thing.
The way that you had it, you had a little hesitation, like, oh, you just got to do it. I mean, it's true, and we know it too,
because we play it out in our heads.
Don't.
We're like, yeah, you get to you're like, I can do this, and then you're like, oh gosh, that would be really tough. That would, and I just feel like I've got, again, there's so many different factors that go into, but one thing. Why is so if you look back, and you guys have probably all heard this statistic too, dental insurance has not changed reimbursement for like 50 years. It's always been $1,000 to $1,500.
Yeah, it's like a coupon book. I mean,
right, but it has not changed in 50 years. So with inflation, it would be like $7,000 or $9,000 today is what a patient would get.
No.
Yeah,
isn't that wild?
Right.
So why have they not changed it? Because we're finally starting to understand how it is that it's working. We're seeing how it actually affects us individually and as businesses. And I think we're starting to take a little bit more of a stand than what we have in the past. But Marc, when I dropped a couple of them, Delta's one, it's the next on my chopping block, to be honest with you. So I sent out a letter to all of my patients and said, just to let you know, here in 6 months, we're going to be dropping Delta Dental. If you have any questions, give us a call. That letter went out. Within moments of getting the letter, I guarantee you we had people that were constantly, our phones were ringing off the hook of complaints of saying, I can't believe you do this to us. How dare you? That kind of stuff. I thought you were looking out for us. That kind of stuff went on. And I found myself having to educate patients on how their insurance actually works. because there's so many of them that believe that dental insurance works in the same fashion as medical insurance.
Right.
They couldn't be any more different between the two. So trying to go through and educating patients, I should have been doing that at the very beginning. When that first patient came through, I missed out and should have been educating them with, this is what your insurance can do for you. These are the limitations they have. And that way, this conversation would have been a lot easier.
Right. The letter, the email, sometimes it's kind of a very impersonal way of disclosing that you're going to be dropping Delta or what have you. So, but then again, do you want to spend the 20 minutes at a hygiene check saying, oh, by the way, in 6 months, we're not going to be accepting your insurance anymore. So again, you really have to find a very strategic and an approachable way to do that with patients. And it's a very difficult situation. It's a very difficult decision.
I like the way that you use the term strategic. So what was your strategy?
Well, very much like you, we did the letter, but then we also, but
perfect.
We did, but no.
So don't do it, but you better do it.
But you got to, But also having, and I think just, Sabiha and you, Ashton, you mentioned you talked about the teachers that you serve, and Sabiha's with, she has a lot of people in the university that comes to see her. So it's a lot of times it's different, because when we looked at how our practice was structured and how many people were actually with Delta or with this particular insurance, those are the conversations that you have to have with your team and, with everyone else involved in that decision-making process. But if you know that this is how much percentage of your practice is already Delta, then it makes that decision a little bit more easy, or you're more informed about making that decision before you make it.
So my favorite is that I have this husband and wife, and they both work for MetLife, and they come to me. So I always use that, like, listen, because my practice is not all Delta. It's probably like 60-40, but it's just hilarious. That just goes to show that, there are people who do value, and there's people who work for these dental insurance companies, and they know that you should not just go based on MetLife.
So we've gotten kind of the do's. We've kind of gotten a couple of don'ts from Marc as to how to go about this kind of stuff. The letter still seems like it's kind of an up in the air situation to it. But Marc, is there anything you would have done differently?
I think we should have had conversations with patients a little bit sooner. That, there may be, and as opposed to, like, again, to your point, just sending out a letter and then that you're fielding calls all day about, oh, why aren't you taking my insurance anymore? So prepping people, having that conversation, having an honest conversation with, hey, this is the situation that you may be experiencing. This is a potential transition we're going to be making in the practice in the next, 6 months to a year. And just giving patients enough time to really not feel like they're getting abandoned.
Did you leave it just as the insurance is being dropped, deal with it? Or did you have different
we had a very long
things?
We had a very long document explaining why and the whole thing. And then again, telling patients that you're not necessarily not accepting Delta anymore.
There you go.
Because it's just that the structure of how the fees and the billing it will change.
Yeah. Did you do any type of like membership plans or things like that in your office?
We've kind of always had that, but you'd be surprised. I mean, we don't really advertise it unless patients, ask.
Sure. Makes sense. So, and just kind of wrapping up this whole idea of things, if you had to go back knowing what you know now, you would have jumped in faster than what anybody that I've ever asked that has actually finally gone to fee for service only, they never regret it. And you'd say the same thing for you, correct?
100%.
Gosh, it's annoying. Because we're in the same boat.
And I'm just mad at myself because I had the opportunity to, like, start a new practice, and I knew better, because it's easier if you just start without it.
No.
That's true. But
right
again, I think that we've gotten wrapped up in the idea that, like, a fee for service practice is better. Well, in certain ways it is, but certain times, like, if your community is 70% Delta or what have you, you can't, and it's working for you, and you're being able to be profitable, and you have good standing in the community, people respect you, then those are all different things that it's a different conversation, right? I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it, is what I'm getting at.
So Sabiha, let's go to your position of things. You said that guilt, well, I said guilt. You said almost a responsibility to those that are around you for your patients. What has kept you from doing this, from going to fee for service?
So, it's just that, like, going a little bit back to what you're saying, both of you guys are actually saying, for me, like I do a lot of the coaches, and I have a lot of fun, and this could be I'm getting marketing through my patients, who respect me and who come to me. And so I don't have a marketing budget. I'm not out there putting X amount of dollars in marketing. My marketing is my patients in this community, like the word of mouth and what they post and what I post. And so, but I do feel like for what we offer, what my team offers, there should not be a 30% cut on everything that we do. There's just no way the level of service that we provide, it just shouldn't be that way. And sometimes you do feel like what you were saying, Ashton, you feel like you're eating it, right? Like I just paid for that, or you have them come back and maybe they just cover two or whatever. It's with given the training, given what I do feel like if I were to start up anywhere, I would definitely go fee for service. I just don't find myself doing that in Ann Arbor because I love all of what I do with all the people. And I'm nervous that if I did go fee for service, if someone new came and they were given this list, like which they always are, and I wasn't on it, that I wouldn't get to do all the fun things I get to do.
No, it's back to that guilt for us as well.
Yeah.
Well, the sheer dynamic out of all of this for us is that you've got to do, Mark, you said this beautifully. You've got to do what works best for you. You've got to work best for what you want out of this field of dentistry itself. You've got to provide the way that you want to provide. And if fee for service is the way that you want to do it, then I love the idea of don't be so afraid of doing it. Jump in, 2 feet, jump in, head first, whatever you want to do. But get into it because that's what you want to do. And for Sabiha, for you, it works beautifully for you. So why change it? If you love what you're doing and it's working out well for you, then don't change it. For me personally, I'm getting closer and closer to making that jump purely because I can see that the way that my career is going, I want to be able to be more on that fee-for-service side for a number of different reasons. But that's just kind of the direction that my career is going. So to Mark's point, I don't know that there's a perfect answer that is the same for absolutely everybody. And that's not a bad thing. I don't think it is. It just depends on where you are. But that's the beautiful part about this. You get to make dentistry what you want to make out of this. So
I think
to both of you, Dr. Lai, Dr. Bunek, thank you very, very much for joining us. For those that don't know very much about the Dental Advisor quite yet, first of all, shame on you. But second of all, if you want to see what it is that we do over here, then it is based on evaluations to try and help you make dentistry what you want dentistry to become for you personally and for your careers. So check us out on our website, dentaladvisor.com. And on this Disruptive Dental Science podcast, we're excited to have you again. But for those who are with us today, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.